You ever have a moment where something just clicks and you realize you're not here to play small? That's the energy we're bringing this season. Welcome to Taboo Talks with Krystal, where we get honest about the messy middle of healing, rising, and rewriting the rules. Each week, we dive into real conversations around healing, leadership, identity, and choosing to live on your own terms. No filters, no performance positivity, just truth, tools, and a whole lot of permission to take up space. Whether it's just you and me today, or I'm joined by a guest who's been through the fire and found purpose on the other side, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. TammyRenee, welcome. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you start by sharing just a little bit about your journey? How have your personal experiences led to the creation of the WAVE philosophy?
Okay, so interesting journey. It started actually when I realized from a coach that I had that saw something in me that I did not see, and I kind of took it for granted. And it's our natural talents and our gifts. We kind of take those for granted. But when she brought it up to me in one of our sessions and said I had this natural motivational drive that I just go for things without even hesitation. I started doing some research and tried to figure out what made me keep going, even from being homeless to being an international business. What took me from that to that? What kept me from making a decision that would have put me on a totally different path than I'm on now? So as I was doing these research and stuff, I started discovering what I call now the WAVE philosophy. And what that is trusting yourself, which is the wisdom. It's trusting that internal guidance that guides you, that lets you know if you're on the right track or the wrong track, help you make your decisions. And not only using that intuition, which is what I call intuition, also using your critical thinking, because one way or the other is not satisfaction. You have to have that balance. So that's what wisdom is. Then there's the A, awareness. And that stemmed from me being aware of my surroundings, being aware of who I was, being aware of what I wanted. So that's where I teach you more about expanding your awareness, not only about yourself, but the world around you. Then there's the V. When we visualize what we see, when we visualize, we get what we see, right? But there's also the other aspect of it where you will receive visions. So, if from some of my past experience, when I visualize something, like if I do this, what's going to happen, you will receive a vision. Now it's up to you to what? Trust your wisdom and be aware of your surroundings to make that decision. So I'll give you a quick example. When I was 16 years old, I was a runaway, and I was on a bus. And on this bus, I was taken from Ohio to California. I was just miserable in life at that time. But while I was on this bus, I actually contemplate getting off of that bus and making a life for myself on the streets. But my wave philosophy kicked in, right? So when my wave philosophy kicked in, I how it worked was I said to myself, I life is horrible right now. I just want to get off this bus. I want to go live on the streets. I don't feel loved. I don't feel wanted. I don't even love myself anymore. But as soon as I started thinking about that, my awareness became I became aware of my surroundings. And there was this old man sitting next to me. I remember he never said anything to me, but what it made me do is visualize what my life would be like when men like him want to sleep with me and I can't do anything about it. So I end up staying right there on that bus. I did not get off, and that's what changed the trajectory of my life. So then there's the E, energy. And energy is about getting that motivational drive, having that willpower, also acknowledging the energy around you when you're stepping in um, certain environments or you're around certain people. It helps you to determine whether you need to set boundaries or whether you are giving too much of yourself or whether you are in line with what you are trying to achieve. Because once we are aligned with what we're trying to achieve, that motivational drive kicks in. So that's how wave was discovered for me, is going back in my life and seeing what made me make the decisions that I made and what kept me from being a statistic.
Oh, so powerful. What kept you from being a statistic? That hits for me.
Yeah.
That resonates because that was something that was a lighthouse for me. It was a beacon for me, was not becoming a statistic. I've known from an early age I was here to break cycles, right?
Yes.
And I've known that. And so I don't know exactly where in the way philosophy it fits, but I know that it fits. And
Yes.
it's so interesting that you are able to outline it in a framework like
Yeah.
that key element that kept you moving forward.
Yeah, and they all work together. So then that's where I come in when I'm bringing it together. I call it the wave effect, right? But I do have trouble articulating this wave to people because they really don't understand it, but it is a new way of moving forward in life. It's probably the original way that we forgot, and it's bringing it back. So it's not technically a new wave, it's things we already have within us that we've lost touch with.
Right, absolutely. What is one big myth or misunderstanding about personal growth and transformation that you would like to clear up for our listeners?
I would say a myth would be it's woo woo. I don't know what woo woo mean, you know.
Right? Me
Everyone
too. I think I've even Googled it. Like, what is woo woo? Like, I don't understand.
and that was one of the things that kind of kept me from moving forward because people would say, "Oh, that's woo woo." Well, what is woo woo? If I'm accessing my God given talents, is God woo woo? So I would say that is
Exactly.
one myth that people have framed this type of work, intuition, visualization, aligning your energy, have framed this type of work as woo woo, as if it's something outside of us, but it's really inside of us. It's our own God given talents.
Right. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Speaking of these invisible tools within us, tuition, inner wisdom, can you give us an example of how someone might start using these tools in their own life today?
Yes, I would say one of the things that you can do, which actually helped me access a lot of these tools, is writing, journaling. So, for instance, I wrote a book that I didn't even know I was going to write because I listened to, when I was going through my personal healing, I listened to myself and started writing things out. Even through the whole process, I did not know this was going to be a book. But when I got done with all the writing and a very, we never stop healing, right? We never stop growing. So when I got done with that part of my healing process, I was told, make a book. So the best advice I could give is one, first of all, trust who you are. Trust what you want, trust your thoughts, trust your dreams. And then from there, you can add tools, which I call the outside tools. You could bring those into your life to help you access those inside tools, like journaling, walking, meditating, anything that will take you introspection, give you some introspection about who you are, what you want, what makes you tick, what makes you click, what makes you mad. You got to know it all. You can't just focus on the fuzzy things, or you can't just focus on the bad things. You need to know them all so that you can have a balanced lifestyle.
Absolutely. And for our listeners who have been with us for a while, this is something that comes up over and over and over again. Listen to your intuition, speak your story, write it down. So powerful.
Hmm.
A lot of people struggle with boundaries, whether it's setting them, communicating them, or enforcing them. I know you have something called a boundary audit exercise.
Yes.
How can you talk to us about that? What is it and how does it help people create healthier boundaries?
So the boundary audit exercise is where first you determine where you need to set boundaries, right? And those boundaries could be any with family, with your parents, with anyone. But recognizing that you need to set them is the first step. Because without recognizing that you need to set them, you don't even know what to set, right? We struggle. What do I say? What do I do? What do I want? Right? So when you recognize that you need to set them, the boundary audit actually helps you understand your intuition. So because your intuition is constantly speaking to you. So when you're around certain people and you feel a certain way, or you're saying yes when you really want to say no, or you're going on these outings with people that you really don't enjoy being around, that's a lot of negative energy we're bringing in, and we're suppressing our own selves, believe it or not. And they're getting the joy of their life, while we're sitting back and we're like, I don't really want to be here. I'm not happy, or I can't say certain things or anything like that. So recognizing when those moments happen, and then it takes you through how to communicate. Well, what do you want that to look like? So you have to understand what's that to look like. For instance, if you have a friend at work who wants to always go out after work, and then they want to sit around and complain about work while you're outside of work, right? And you don't want to do that because it just brings the Debbie Downer out, right? And so when you are able to write out how you want that to look like and how you want to communicate that, working through the process, now you have a way to communicate it. And it simply is as easy as said, I am at while we are not at work, I do not talk about work things outside of work, right? If they don't respect that, then you have your backup plan. Okay, you want to continue to do this? We can no longer hang out. So it takes you through that journey of first recognizing, then it takes you through a journey of writing out exactly what it is that you want and how to communicate it, and then your backup plan. I call it plan B. So that's how it works. And when you think of boundaries, boundaries is not meant to block people. A lot of times people think when you're setting boundaries you're being mean, and you putting your foot down, and all these things, but it's not really meant for that, because when we have up those walls, we're blocking everything from coming in. When we have up a boundary, we're allowing things to flow in and out.
Mm, such a powerful visual. I love that. Letting that one sink in for a minute.
Boundaries was something that I think everybody has to learn. Um, and depending on who the person is, mine started off with my mom actually. So I had to set boundaries with my mom. So I was just thrown out to the wolves. I'm either going to be authentically me or I'm going to let her keep controlling my voice. So after I did that with my mom, of course it doesn't stop, right? Then you got the next person. But people don't understand. We have to, when you're setting your boundaries, for your mental health, it is important to understand that they don't understand what's going on either. They're used to taking and getting whatever they can from us. And they're used to you saying being the yes man or the yes woman. So when you stop that, there is a pushback. But as long as you stay strong and stay in your protective energy, they'll start coming around and they'll give you more respect. Because if you don't have respect for yourself with no boundaries, how is anyone else going to respect you, right?
Right, right. Great advice. One of my favorite sayings is, I never lose. I win or I learn. Looking back, what would you say is your biggest mistake and what lesson did it teach you about living purposefully?
One of my biggest mistakes is I had an international business and I had a retreat in Costa Rica. And I don't like to look at it as a mistake, but I definitely see what I could have done differently. Because in our mistakes and in our learning lessons, I do believe that there are those are opportunities to grow. So I try not to look at it as, oh my God, this is so challenging. No, this is an opportunity to learn and grow from. So when I lived in Costa Rica, because I am an introvert by nature, believe it or not, but this is what happens when you come out of your shell. um, when I lived in Costa Rica, one of the things that I regret not doing is engaging with other people, engaging with the community, making those connections and building a community. Instead, I stayed isolated to myself. I didn't really build the relationships I could have while trying to build a business. And because of that, I lost money in my business because I was the what? The best kept secret because people didn't get to know me. So, what I would have done different is go to the beach more, hung out with people more, build relationships with people more, did those things instead of focusing on, I need to build this business. I need to keep busy. I need to just keep researching, all in my own little cocoon because it did not serve me. So, making yourself available for people would be my biggest lesson.
Right. And how much more enjoyable life would have been too,
Right.
having made all of those connections,
Yeah.
right? That is definitely something that I can relate to for sure.
Yes.
Tammy and Renee, is there anything else that you would like our listeners to know or that you would like to share with our audience before we wrap up here?
Yes. I have this quote that I love to share, and it wraps up what our life should be like, or well, I'm just going to say it, right? So this quote comes from my own experience, and the quote is, if you want to be the leader of your dreams, you have to know what your dreams are. In order to know what your dreams are, you have to know who you are.
I love that.
Thank you. And
I
that
love
came
that
from
so much.
me not even realizing I was holding on to someone else's dream, even at the age of 50, thinking it was mine.
Wow. Yes. Thank you so much for being here, for sharing your story and your insights. Your wave philosophy is a powerful reminder that we already have the tools we need to create meaningful change in our lives. Earlier, we had talked about the boundary audit exercise. Do you want to share with our listeners where they can find that and how they can connect with you?
Yes, it is on my social media platforms, which is Tammy Renee. Maxwell on Facebook, and it's TammyRenee_transformation on IG. I do have a direct link to it.
And we'll share that in the show
Okay.
notes as well.
Okay, because that,
Yeah.
that that's a lot to say.
No worries. Again, thank you so much for being here and sharing your wisdom with all of us.
Thank you so much for having me.
To everyone listening, I hope today's conversation reminds you that no matter where you are in life or how stuck you may feel, there's always a way forward. Sometimes it's about finding the right tools. Sometimes it's about asking for help. But the journey starts with one small step. Remember, mamas, you are stronger than you think. You're never alone. And the work you're doing now is not just for you, it's for the future we're creating together. The ripple effects on your healing, your growth, and your courage can reach farther than you'll ever know. Keep showing up for yourself, keep breaking those cycles, and remember, it's never too late to start living the life you deserve. I'll see you back here next week. Woo! Take a breath. Because this isn't just about pushing through or keeping your head down. This is a season of stepping up, of making moves. And the move is breaking the pattern, choosing differently, learning to trust yourself enough to stop, recalibrate, and move with intention. Breaking cycles, not just for you, but for the generations that come after you. If this episode resonated, please send it to someone who needs it, because real conversations deserve to be heard. And if you enjoyed today's episode, I'd love for you to leave a review on Apple or Spotify. It helps us reach more people who are ready to step it up. Listen, if you're not just here to survive, but to build something real, whether it's in your life, your leadership, or your business, let's connect. Whether you want to work with me, book me as a speaker, or learn how to build a brand that actually aligns with your purpose, head over to krystalcasey.com/links. Everything you need is there. And remember, you were never meant to just keep going. You were meant to break the cycle, build something real, and reclaim your power. Keep leading, keep creating, and I'll see you back here next Tuesday.